John Reid. The Scottish teenager who achieved immense wealth in the colonies and named his huge estate in North Otago after the birthplace of Scotland's greatest hero, Sir William Wallace. John Reid is notable as the owner of one of early Otago's great landed estates, which he named Elderslie after the birthplace of Scotland's great national hero, William Wallace. Very little is known about Reid's early life. He always maintained that he was born at Stirling, whereas in fact he was baptised at least in the city of Glasgow, where his father was a wine merchant. His mother, Jean Forrester, on the other hand, did come from Stirlingshire, from Arnmore in Kippen Parish, so perhaps she gave birth to her first child at her family home. On leaving school, John Reid entered commercial life here in Glasgow, but when gold was discovered in Victoria in the early 1850s, like many young Scotsmen, he was drawn there to seek his fortune. Sailing for Victoria in 1853, aged just 19, John Reid was one of them. He spent 10 years working as an engineer on the Victorian goldfields near Ballarat. He also married a fellow Scot, Agnes Humphreys from Paisley, in Melbourne in 1855. John crossed over to Otago in 1863 as the representative of various Victorian commercial firms. 2 years later, he began to buy up farmland in North Otago, quickly amassing a substantial property. He named his estate Elderslie, after this village near Paisley that is claimed to be the birthplace of Sir William Wallace, the great hero of the 13th century Scottish Wars of Independence, demonstrating his Scottish patriotism. Nearby, Reid built a house he called Burnside for his eldest son, which was also replete with Scottish symbols and a link to Sir William Wallace. Reid took up residence at Elderslie in the 1870s and developed its homestead into a showpiece park centred on one of the most impressive private residences in New Zealand. As well as the impressive mansion in these stables, there were ornamental gates framing a long driveway, lakelets, plantations of trees, and exotic animals. In 1879, Reid purchased the neighbouring estate, Balruddery, doubling his holdings. This expansion made Reid the largest freeholder in North Otago, running 33,000 sheep on his two estates. He worked hard on stock development and improving his pastures. Elderslie flocks won innumerable prizes, as did the estate's horses, which Reid bred for both work and racing. He was vitally involved in the development of refrigerated shipping as well, building a steamer that he called Elderslie to carry frozen sheep directly from Oamaru to Britain. Its inaugural voyage in 1884 carried 23,000 frozen carcasses and was a great success. But Reid was unable to generate enough support from local landowners to support the trade being exclusively from Oamaru as he had originally hoped. Reid represents the men with extensive land and interests who were so important in 19th century Otago before the Liberal government of the 1890s burst up their great estates. By the turn of the 20th century, the age of the great estate owners was passing. In 1900, Reid sold over 11,000 acres to the government, and in 1908, Balruddery was also sold for closer subdivision. In 1912, another 1,800 acres of Elderslie went the same way. John Reid died that year, leaving a widow and 12 children, and an estate valued at over £43,000. Reid had made a great contribution to the development of North Otago. He had been president of the Agricultural and Pastoral Association and the Acclimatisation Society, a director of the Oamaru Woolen Factory, chairman of the Road Board, and numerous other public bodies. but he could never get enough votes to win a seat in Parliament, nor even one on the Waitaki County Council. North Otago voters seemed reluctant to add political power to Reid's economic and social dominance. Sadly, his great house at Elderslie was destroyed by fire in 1957, and small family farms have long occupied the land where John Reid once held sway as the local nabob.